Hello, everybody. We're gonna go ahead and do our TCM top down. In this interview that we're gonna have between myself, Jacob, and
My name's Hugh.
we're gonna go over our networking, landing internships, interviewing, and all around soft skills that are needed in the workplace. And yeah, let's go ahead and dive in. Hugh, you want to give us a background on previous internships, education, and where you are right now?
Yeah, of course. I started Cal State Fullerton as a freshman, so I'm not a transfer student. So ever since my freshman year, I wasn't really sure if I want to do finance. I really delved and committed 100% to finance about 2 months into my freshman year of my first semester. So it's not late, but it could have been earlier, is what I would say. But it's never too late. So I really began my passion. So during my freshman year, I took part in a student management investment fund. We look at stocks, we look at how companies and business drivers. So I really got a deep understanding of what finance looks like. So I got a glimpse of what finance is about. Of course, I was also networking, going to the finance association events, looking at their lifestyle to see if finance is right for me. And then in my freshman year, so after my freshman year, in the summer, I couldn't get an internship. It's impossible. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's really hard. So I did a fellowship with the Washington Rec. Throughout the experience, I learned more about financial modeling, looking at the business trend, and really getting my SI exam passed. So understanding of finance, improving my financial knowledge. And then in my sophomore year, everyone's been saying get some leadership skills. Leadership skills is so important. So I serve as a club president for the Finance Association Club at Cal State Fullerton. Throughout this experience, I learned more about finance and I network like crazy. Every single day networking, every single week, at least one coffee chat. And then of course I also took part in Titan Capital Management in my spring semester. I learned more about finance. Also took part in student management investment fund. I kept on going. And then in the summer of my sophomore year, I joined a small commercial bank, really small. It's called Genesis Bank. It's about $300 million in asset balance sheet. So really small, but I really look at the M&A team. It was a small commercial business development team. So corporate banking, looking at it. So I learned more about the commercial banking side. And then currently I'm a junior right now. I was able to land an internship at Genesis Bank under their enterprise credit division. So looking forward to what the future has hold for me. So I'm currently a junior. So what about you, Jacob? What's your path?
Yeah. Yeah, me. It's kind of similar to yours. I am a transfer student. I transferred from San Ana College, and I came in here, and I kind of wanted to relate to you on that part
Mm-hmm.
where you kind of didn't know if finance was the right option for
Mm-hmm.
you. I took Finance 320 my first semester here. I really enjoyed the class. I enjoyed learning about the financial concepts, TVM, but I didn't really know if finance was the end all and be all for me, right? So I also attended finance association, and that's actually how I met you. I don't know if you
Yes,
remember.
I do.
Yeah, now I'm a board member, director of engagement. Kind of piggybacking off of what you said, leadership is extremely important, to not only curate those soft skills that we're going to talk about
Mhm.
later, but on your resume, it adds it buffs it up, right? And I'm also part of Titan Capital Management. After I did choose my concentration to be finance. I became interested, did my research into
Mhm.
all the programs in school, and Titan Capital Management. One of the biggest programs, actual practical experience that you're getting managing portfolios. Hugh and I actually part of
Mhm.
President's College portfolio this semester and the following semester. And yeah, I just feel like it's really important to step out there. If you're a transfer student, if you're a first year student, really put yourself out there and get to know it, get to know the
Mhm.
stuff, right? This past summer, I did intern at a short focus hedge fund in the Bay Area, Kingsford Capital. I had a lot of fun there. It was very interesting working around, the meme stock kind of spur that we had this past summer. It was very interesting learning how these funds not only perform but how they react, in real time, and it's a very interesting glimpse in the market.
Mhm.
Very different from commercial banking, which I am interested in. We're both interested in investment banking. I know Hugh's going to be doing corporate and investment banking with Bank of
Credit.
America. Credit, yes, with Bank of America. And yeah, that's kind of a little bit about me. kind of where I'm at right now and kind of where we're at.
Mm.
But I think later on in this conversation we're gonna dive deeper into how we got those positions and
Mm.
how we're navigating ourselves into our future careers. I kind of want to pass this over to you. And
Yeah.
how did you land at Bank of America, or
Yeah.
if you want to go all the way back to Genesis Bank, and
Mm.
kind of what you did to get where you are
Yes.
right now.
So I would say it all begins with the smallest steps. Doing, I started unpaid internships. I was doing such some random stuff, real estate experience. I was taking student management as an investment fund. I did a small internship, did some case study, and throughout those small experience where I questioned if I even learned anything at all, and then I was able to use that experience to get into other small organizations to land in leadership positions. And with a combination of leadership experience and a combination of those unpaid internships that's meaningless, I was able to land my first uh, fellowship during my freshman year. And in my sophomore year, I took part in big organizations like Titan Capital Management. And with a combination of all the experience, unpaid, student management investment fund, Titan Capital Management, I was able to land my first internship at Genesis Bank. But before landing at Genesis Bank, what I really did was I made one huge mistake was I didn't extremely practice my interviewing skills. And I'm thankful I really did practice. And of course, before landing the role, I think there's some other prerequisite, such as making sure that you have a strong leadership skills. You should be on the board of an organization. You should be holding the leadership skills. You should be running as club president or something. It doesn't have to be from the finance association club. It doesn't have to be from anywhere. It could be anywhere. But the goal is you got to have a well-rounded student and communicate it. So I did all the stuff just to fill out those boxes. I was able to land my first internship at Genesis Bank. And at Genesis Bank, it was a very formal internship, but I'm really grateful. I don't talk bad about it, but I wish there was more exciting, more flashy about it. And I was able to use that internship as a stepping stone into my next internship at Bank of America. And of course, I really did have to network for that internship. Bank of America, unlike all the companies, you have to network. It sounds cliche, but you do really have to network. I made sure that I met with the management team. I made sure I met with the analyst and the associate, talked to them before my interview, and make sure connection is one thing. Being smart is one thing, but having connection is another secret that you also need to have. So having everything really helps you. And of course, the final step is you passing the interview process. And of course, 400 investment banking questions, having mock interviews. I say about 10 mock interviews before I really did my first one. And while I was scouting this internship, I think throughout my life, since my freshman year all the way to my junior year, I think I applied to more than 600 jobs. And throughout those 600 jobs of applying, I got ghosted about 580. And 20 of them actually reached out to me, and 20 of them gave me an interview. And of the 20, I passed only two. And that's my junior year and my senior, sorry, my sophomore year and my junior year internship. So I got two out of 600. So people say that acceptance rates is about 1% for most candidates. But for me, I think I far below. You get 2 divided by 600. That's for sure even less than 1%. So that's how I took path. Of course, it is a number game really does play out. And great interviewing skills, way much more important than actually knowing everything. And great interviewing skills, connections, of course, knowing, have a decent understanding what the role is, pitch it, show your passion, good behavioral skills is how I landed my first internship, or my first really big internship at Bank of America for their enterprise credit, for their investment banking, global corporate investment banking credit. So it's a huge long title, but that's more about me right there. What about you, Jacob?
Yeah, I kind of just wanted to piggyback off what you're saying. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I know earlier when you're introducing yourself, you did these programs and you're doing the
Mm-hmm.
unpaid internships.
Yeah.
But I still think that that those are things that you should still be focusing on. Hugh
Mm-hmm.
said he applied 600, he got 20, denied 20, got the Bank of America. It's a numbers game, right,
Mm-hmm.
Hugh? But I still think that getting those unpaid internships, like how he did, I've done it with Project Destin. I was doing commercial real estate with them, unpaid, and that was during the spring. But I think it's very important to have that to beef up your resume as
Mm-hmm.
well. And I think that's something that we can kind of segue into. I know as a both engagement members for Finance Association, we do resume reviews, buff up on cover letters, and kind of just want to go over to you like what is a well-rounded resume. Like we have all this leadership
Mm-hmm.
experience, right, that we're collecting at school. We have tight capital management,
Mm-hmm.
it's practicum, it's like an internship,
Yeah.
and we have these unpaid internships that maybe you don't want to do, but
Mm-hmm.
in the future, in by next year, in 2 years, by the time you graduate, it's good that you have this experience and this knowledge to be able to talk about the markets or
Mm-hmm.
real estate or different areas of finance that the next person is not going to be able to talk about, and you're going to be able to wow your interviewer right here.
Yeah.
So kind of, I know you do more resume reviews than I
Mm-hmm.
do, way more. Kind of, what do you see that incoming students, transfer students, people that come to us looking for a stronger resume?
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that they can improve on?
So in your resume, there's some things that you must have. So let's start the first one. Obviously, Excel gotta be on there, leadership is gotta be on there, and financial experience on there. Of course, GPA at least over 3.5. Make sure your GPA keep it up. GPA is actually important. 3.5 or above for sure, absolutely. And a resume, you know, those small details, no typos, no grammar mistakes,
No typos.
no double space. That's something that I absolutely you cannot have in your resume. And now let's go over some things that other than formatting itself. Let's go over some small details here.
Mhm.
In your resume, in each bullet point, preferably you hit all three. What you did, how you did it, and what was the resulting impact. If you don't have those three things within your resume, resume bullet points, consider it weak. And then I know some students before they enter college, they don't have experience like student mentoring is fun, so get on it. Join the student mentoring, that's fun. And if you have 6 experience about raising canes, working at McDonald's, working in and out, I say remove them. Have only one experience and throw it at the very bottom under your experience section. So at Cal State Fulton, I assume that the target audience here is Cal State Fulton students. The first line should be assuming you have nothing. So the order of hierarchy will be if you a real internship, put that on there. Make sure it's paid. The next one would be unpaid internship. That's the order of hierarchy. And third one would be be paid, unpaid internship, and it would be tied in capital management. The third one,
I think if I were to chime in here,
yeah.
I think it's not, your resume is not, one size fits all, right?
Mhm.
So when it comes to, the experiences that you've had, whether it be, unpaid internships, extracurriculars, whether it be the Smith Student Managed Investment Fund, um, you have that as the focal point, as what the recruiter, what the HR is going to look at first, and they're the ones that are going to pass on your resume to the actual hiring team, right? So if you have minimal experience in the world of finance, use that minimal experience. Remember what you did and the actionable items that you completed in whatever you were doing,
Mhm.
and expand on that, right? So maybe have 4 bullet points for Smith, have all these amazing things that you did, and then have your leadership, right? Maybe you don't have to include your job at Burger King, my that was my first job, and it's
Yeah.
not on my resume because I've been able to expand it onto these extracurricular activities, tied in capital management, finance association, and even the street smarts, which we could get into
Mhm.
later. But yeah, I just wanted to chime in there. The things of value into the positions that you're applying to, you should be able to expand on that, and remember that what you're putting down is free game, right? So be prepared for those questions. If they ask you, it's like, oh, I see you did this and that on your resume, can you expand a little more on the company that you research, the bond that you research, or different items
Mhm.
like that. But feel free to go ahead on what you're kind of talking about.
Yeah, so those are the order of hierarchy that you don't have the very first one, go to the next one, and so it'll be paid internship, unpaid, and it would be um, TCM, it would be Student Managed Investment Fund, Smith, and on the bottom of that you could put some unpaid ones, some other companies, some other small ones. So those are order of hierarchy. Of course, the last thing, if you want to put it for space filling wise, put your experience from like a restaurant. I think that's fine too. But people look at resume from very top to the bottom. If you're trying to apply to financial roles, then I think you should put Burger King last and put student management investment finance first. So those are how I would approach it. And leadership skills, you need to have that. I think it's like you can do anything you want. You gotta have one leadership skills. And under the bottom, demonstrate or write down your technical experience. Write down Excel, Word, Python. The next one would be certification. The third one will be the organization that you're part of. And this here, I think I said will be under skills and interests. The last item here, this might be your killer point, your interest. This here could be snowboarding. It could be tennis and running. Because I know some people, I talk to people who from Salt Lake City. If you're applying to Salt Lake City, make sure you put snowboarding, skiing as on the very bottom of your resume. It shows that
But don't
you fit
lie.
it.
Do
No,
not lie.
no.
I actually know how to snowboard or ski.
Well, you could like no can tell.
No, don't lie. Or
Yeah.
if you do, before the interview, make sure you learn everything about snowboarding and learn
Yes.
everything about skiing
Yes.
to hold the conversation.
Yeah. So
But
fake it.
yeah, but that kind of, really goes around
Mhm.
the whole entire resume
Mhm.
process and kind of, making it strong. We can kind of go into our next point where, me and you,
Mhm.
I mean, you're Vietnamese, I'm Mexican. We utilize DEI to the absolute max.
Yes.
There's programs out there that help people like us to it's a cheat code, right?
Mhm.
And it's something that I took advantage of early on. I was able to get in part of with the Street Smarts, which is a nonprofit organization for financial education for
Mhm.
Latino and Black students, to kind of navigate the world of finance, really figure out where you want to be, because world of finance is so massive. You can do a great many things, right? And that's how I kind of got my foot in the door before
Mhm.
getting into tidy capital management. So I was already, a little knowledgeable about what the environment was going to kind of look like. And so with the Street Smarts, I was writing newsletters about portfolio impacts, different stock pitches. I remember doing one about a small cap international fund, right? And I remember doing another one about gold. It's these different extra things that you kind of get into that necessarily your classes aren't going to be the best for, right? And it's really important to get involved into these different programs to kind of elevate yourself.
Mhm.
And I think that was very beneficial for me because the CEO of the nonprofit was able to connect me with that hedge fund partner in the Bay Area, and really impressed with my work. Went through the interview process, talked to the guy. I had around like 3 interviews with him, and it was a lot of fun. And I think that it's not something that it's not a job that was listed, right? It's kind of like, hey, I know this guy. He's really
Yeah.
good at writing, and you get a job, that you didn't even know was listed. So that's why I think, kind of going back to what he was saying, it's really important to make those connections,
Mhm.
and not only making surface level, shallow connections, but really making deep connections with people in the industry and staying in touch with them, following up. And that's why I say don't lie on your interests, right? Because you want your connections to be people that you keep with throughout your entire career, your entire life. You want to see them as friends. You don't want to just see them as people that you can leverage every now and then, right?
Mhm.
So that kind of goes into it. Do you want to speak more on how you use kind of DEI into navigating yourself?
Yeah, of course. So, um, DI, I benefit a lot from DI. I'm not gonna lie. For example, SEMO, I got my whole entire MBA paid for by SEMO.
Yeah.
Either I haven't started yet, but if assuming I get into a school like Berkeley, UCLA, UCI, UCR, UC San Diego, I would get my MBA paid for 100% for free, or any other master program like accountancy or master of finance. And through a program called Summer Institute for Emerging Leaders and Managers. and SIEML, so it's a shortcut. You search them on Google, learn more about them, and if you go through an HCBU, I might be wrong. That one's like co- historically black university, something like that. So HCBU,
Yeah.
and then next one is HSI. So Cal State Fullerton is an HSI student, and the people who get in are historically black and Hispanic students. I myself, I'm not even black or Hispanic, and of course, I'm also a male too. So people people prefer.
I'm applying to it at the
Yes.
start of the year.
So I did manage to get in as an HSI student, historically Hispanic Serving Institution. That's what HSI stands for. So I got my MBA paid for. I was also a part of Wall Street Bound, and I was a first generation student, so I really benefited from DI. Take advantage of those. Like some people, they think that DI is bad. They put in the ego. I say just throw away. Apply, apply, apply. Put away your ego and make sure think the best of yourself. If you regret short term, if you have a big ego in the short term, that will not help you in the long term. So throw them away and keep applying and take advantage of them and maximize your opportunity.
Yeah.
Put away your pride and just apply. That's how I say.
Yeah.
That's how I benefit.
Yeah, and it's kind of a door that's already open for you. Just walk through it, and that kind of goes into I kind of segueing is don't just rely on that, right? It's you have to practice, and depending on what you want to get into, whether it be equity research or credit research, investment banking, or portfolio management later down the line, you have to be ready for the interviews, right? You have to be ready to perform when the time comes, right? So that's another thing too when it comes for that preparation, like you was saying, mock interviews is important. But also, the 400 question workbook for investment banking, the Wall Street Prep Red Book, and it's really important to study that material and do mock interviews with your friends, your colleagues, your peers that have had even better if they have had real interview experience already and know the questions that they're going to ask, right? So I think that's really important is to do the grunt work, do your homework, and once it comes time for that interview, you'll crush it. And it's really important, right? And we have all these things that we can leverage, and not only the internet now, but Gemini, ChatGPT. It can help you kind of navigate the interview process, interview questions, and rebuttals, so you can prepare yourself to the absolute max. I think it's really important, and yeah, I think it's definitely something that should not be taken lightly, I think. Yeah.
I also want to chime something crazy. Some deep thoughts. From my experience, I've been observing a lot of kids from Berkeley, kids from Ivy League, kids from our school, and there's this some crazy things. Interviewing skills, I believe it matters more than what you learn in school. If you know enough, that's all you need to know. Enough could be like knowing your accounting skills. Enough could be knowing what's happening in the economy, knowing how to pitch for one or two stocks. If you have those bare minimums, having good behavior skills, you can land any job. I talk to students who are math majors at Berkeley, who are econ majors at an Ivy League or at UCLA. Do you think that those majors apply to investment banking? No, not really, right? Econ, you learn about economic, about hedge fund. Investment banking, nothing is related. I mean, okay, maybe accounting is related, but school teach you 100%. And I think getting a job, passing the interview process, learn how to do the job is often 3% of the school, and the other 2% is missing the student networking, interviewing skills.
Yeah.
So
I think
that's how I think getting a job should be.
Maybe not trying to get too off track. School is definitely important, and
School is definitely important. Yes.
I think those majors they can have that connection to investment banking, but I think kind of like what you're saying is when you finally find that job, right? If it were to be, we're using investment banking as an example, that's when you really want to do that specialized preparation is what you mean. So when it comes for those interviews, right? that those interview skills, talking to industry professionals, like how we said, having coffee chats. How many coffee chats do you have a week, Q?
Before I land Bank of America, I'll try best to have. If I'm really aggressive and I work really hard, I say about one per week. But if I'm slacking a little bit, maybe 2 times a month.
2 times a month?
Yes.
Okay, gotta pump those numbers
Yeah,
up
put those
here.
numbers up. Yes.
But yeah, I think it's really important that once you find this position, this position or this career, after talking with all these industry
Mm.
professionals, and now you're sure that you want to do investment banking. So now you know what you want to prepare for, where you want to be. So that's what you're gonna focus on, right? So you're gonna focus on those 400 investment banking questions. You're gonna focus on memorizing the Wall Street Red Book, right? So that's kind of like one way of thinking of it. Yes, you might be a math major, but now you want to be an investment banker. Okay, maybe allocate more time to that 400 IB guide, and a little less to your homework, just a little less, so you can be able to get that job, know the concepts, know the language, know how to communicate with other industry professionals, and that's what they'll really like. And that kind of translates into we're talking about coffee chats. We should also kind of finish off with our soft skills, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, I know you and I were in New York. I want to say a couple weeks ago. We attended a CFA Society event. We're networking with industry professionals, and I think we did pretty well. I think we did yeah, I think we did well. We're talking to a lot of people, asset managers. Who is that guy you're talking to? He was in real estate, commercial real
I
estate.
forgot. It's way too
Oh
long.
man, yeah, it was a while ago. It was a couple weeks ago, but I think it's really important to be candid, be genuine. Like going back to what I said before, you don't want to have surface level connections. You don't want to have shallow connections. You want to have really strong connections that you can build on in the future. And you might be a student right now, but later down the line, this next person might be able to give you a job, and it might be in somewhere you never expected, and it's somewhere that you love, right? So I think that's really important to hone in your soft skills, and make yourself stand out, right? I think another thing too is people don't talk about it too much, is talking to your upperclassmen. They have that experience already, right? Not only on those higher level classes, but they already have maybe internship experience, or already have a deeper knowledge into interview practice, mock interviews, right? So I think that's also really important, is don't just spam LinkedIn messages, right? Maybe your best connection is the one sitting next to you, right? Yeah.
And I say you should be networking up, down, across, and under. I'm serious. I think don't underestimate anyone. Everyone here can help you. Anyone here can be friends with you. Anyone here can teach you something new. So don't be close minded. Just because the person sitting next to you isn't where you want to be, that person can teach you. That person can help you. That person there can be your close friends. You're down the line. You guys, let's say I work a job at Bank of America. You work at JP Morgan, and sometimes we refer each other down the line. Let's say when we want to switch companies. Let's say I work in Texas, you work in New York. I want to move to New York City. I might ask you for a referral. I might move to your company. So don't underestimate anyone at all. Have an open mind. And then Jacob, what's some other things we should talk about here?
I mean, we talked about networking. We talked about landing internships. We talked about interview process, soft skills. I think that kind of wraps around everything that
Yeah.
we should talk about when it comes as a student looking at to get internships, or you're looking to get that full-time role. I know that we had one of our finance association members recently finished his interview process for credit. I won't say his name, but it's I know that Hugh was able to help him out with his resume, mock interviews, and yeah, it looks like he might get the offer, full time position, and I don't know if it's Los Angeles or Newport Beach, but yeah, this is it's really important to dedicate yourself, and you know learn everything there is to learn, and figure out where you want to be. Talk to the people that are where you want to be, or are also going to where you want to be. Surround yourself around like-minded individuals, and sky's the limit.
Yeah.
You can do anything. But that's about it that
Yeah.
I want to talk about. If you want to add
Yeah.
anything,
That's your closing words. I guess my
closing words.
I guess my closing words for today would be during your time in college, I think you should work your ass off. That sounds cliche. Make sure to go to schools as many times as you can if time's allowed. Um, maximize your opportunity. Take that opportunity. You know, if you're a kid, you still play video games. Maybe reduce on the time, but really focus. College is 4 years, and don't waste it by staying at home. Don't waste it by binge watching TV. Maybe you should once in a while. Go ahead, but if it's every day and 2 hours every day, then you're probably killing yourself. Digging yourself down a hole, and go out there, expand, and work so hard that in the future that you don't regret it. So that's my closing words. So suffer as much as you can, and then enjoy your work in college. So suffer.
Yeah. Suffer, but make it enjoyable.
Make it enjoyable.
Thank you guys for your time. Have a good day.